of our shows were more intensely dramatic.
Back of the psychological reason back.
I simply don't know. I can't imagine. I mean, you must realize that when I left the broadcast last night, I went into dress rehearsal for a play that's opening in 2 days, and I've had almost no sleep, and I know less about this than you do. I haven't read the papers except
What was the first inkling you had that something was wrong?
after it was over. Indeed.
Were you aware of terror at the time you were giving this role? Were you aware that terror was going on throughout the nation?
Oh, no, of course not. You know, we did Dracula, and it seemed to me during Dracula I had high hopes that people would react as they do in a movie of that kind, and I don't know that they did, particularly, and so I'd given up. One doesn't believe in the radio audience much. You don't know that whether they're listening or not. You have no idea how many people are listening or what they're thinking. I had every hope that the people would be excited as they would be at a melodrama. But, yeah. Good. Tone down the... do it again. But you don't play down the melodramatic effect of a melodrama.
Have you altered your plans for future programs in any way as a result of this incident?
Naturally, we will have to sit down and think very carefully about future broadcasts.
Have you make any specific changes in any programs that were already scheduled, such as next week's, for instance?
No.
Mr. Wells,
3 short stories.
when you listening in on this program would know that there was no such thing as Martians.
Well, it would seem to me unlikely that the people of an invasion from Mars would find ready acceptance. I was frankly terribly shocked to learn that it did. No. But I'm primarily the...
Mr. Wells, why did you use local towns in this program?
Well, H.G. Wells uses local towns addressing an English audience. I was addressing an American audience, so the transplantation was quite logical, it seemed to me. He doesn't use mythical towns. He uses quite real ones.
Any town doing
Yes?
that was a mythical town, wasn't it?
It was a mythical town, but it was near enough. It was near enough to a real name. I've forgotten how we figured it out. It's either that it's Grover's Mills, or it is Grove's Mill, or something. At any rate, we changed it slightly, hoping that would a thing which H.G. Wells did not do. His names are quite real English towns, without any change made.
I came down from Canada. Look directly
Yes.
towards the camera.
We've asked you that before.
Ask it loud,
but,
very loud. Louder!
Do you think, Mr. Wells, that you might have taken unfair advantage of the public in using a method as a conveyance for authentic news?
I don't believe that I have, since it is not a method original with me. It is used by many radio programs. I am terribly shocked by the effect it's had. I do not believe that the method is original with me or peculiar to the Mercury Theater's presentation.
Do you think there ought to be a law against such enactments as we had last night as a result of that?
I don't know what the legislation would be. I know that almost everybody in radio would do almost anything to avert the kind of thing that has happened, myself included, but I don't know what the legislation would be. Radio is new, and we are learning about the effect it has on people. Learned a terrible lesson.
Do you think that this will cause the curbing of radio bulletins on the air today?
I simply can't imagine. It seems to me that the effects of this may cause much legislation. I simply don't know. The wisdom of radio executives and of an organized public will decide these things for us. It's not up to me to speak. I'm the
Mr. Wells,
accused.
I was in Europe at the time that Schuschnigg was murdered, and I remember very vividly the time, the way that came through the air. I should say that your presentation last night was even more dramatic and more realistic than the way the Vienna radio station did theirs.
Yes, the intention.
In view of that, don't you think that somebody here would have been able to gauge the reaction which in fact has occurred throughout the United States?
Well, every radio program tries to be more dramatic than life, as every play tries to be more dramatic than life, and every movie. not less so. I would have been surprised and hurt, as anybody would, if they'd been told that a presentation was less effective than light.
In your own view.